That's serious. Yeah. Roll call. Are you here?
I am.
Becky,
I am.
Doug? Here. Tim is in traffic, so, and I myself was here. Review, can I have a motion to approve? Do we have any changes to the minutes? Or the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda as written.
There's movement supported. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ooh. Public comment. Alrighty. There ain't anybody out there in video land, right?
No, it's just a recording today so far.
2-minute highlights from staff.
Where do you want to start?
Lots of staff.
Tracy, why don't you go?
Jamie and I had the opportunity to go to Holland BPW, who put on, and to talk about, they got together a bunch of our partners, so we could talk about how to do low impact landscaping to improve our water quality and reduce what we're using in the house. So it had county people, it had Elbro. There were a lot more people there, a couple nonprofit people,
ODC.
ODC. So it was a really good discussion. It was a workshop. And we still have yet to talk to staff about it, and then we'll meet again in like third week of September. Try to figure out if there's a way we can move forward sort of all as a. So, very good.
For our CPQ, we've been looking at potential easements that we're definitely working with Becky. The contract certifications and payments, and then contract modifications. Our strike team, some of them are heading back to school soon, but we are on track to meet all of our invasive plant. Good. And then for HWA, you had two really successful events, one in Hamilton and then one in Spring Lake. Just a lot of landowner interest in Hemlock Woolly Adelgid, lots of good questions and interactions from them.
Last month, I spoke to the MSU Organic Farmer Beginning Program class that they have in Lansing. And I always like doing that every year because they have great questions because they're starting with a fresh slate. So it's always challenging for me, and I learn from them as much as vice versa. So yeah.
I'll be giving my program update here in a few minutes.
Yeah, same.
I'll go next for staff highlight. My 2-minute highlight is we planned and hosted a Prairie Strips, My Strips event at Mike Brockma's property at the end of July. It was good turnout. We had about 37 people there total. And it was great. Mike's always great to listen to, and we had the MSU Extension rain simulator there, and they pulled samples from Mike's fields and also from a neighboring cornfield, and then he also had a sample from his prairie strips, and it kind of showed a really great picture of how water moves through those or doesn't move through those. And then we were looking at some of his prairie strips as well. So got only a few feedback forms from it, but everyone who provided me with feedback had really positive things to say. So, and we have our soil cookout, which is kind of like our Poultry Resilience Summer Series Part 2 coming up August 28th at Tim's property. So looking forward to that. And we've got quite a few different kind of sponsors to help pay for some soil probes and soil stuff, the giveaways we're gonna do, and have some good food. Mud Lake Farms is donating some drinks as well, some of their carbonated drinks, so.
That's the 28th, right?
28th, yeah, it's gonna be like a 12 to 2, yep, it's gonna be a kind of a short and sweet, more of like a come get some food, do some little networking with folks and who are there, and then we're gonna split up into 2 groups and have them switch, where we'll have one goes to one group. I guess depends on how many people actually end up signing up. One group will look at the soil pit with, I think, Matt Lubbers and his agronomist from Channel Seed are gonna kind of lead that, and you might be maybe talking with some folks there too, or if you want to provide any input. And they'll look at a soil pit on Tim's property, and then there'll be another group. He'll be Alex and Andrew. Andrew and Alex will also be there, to kind of show the, what was it called? The soil
The soil health kit.
health kit.
Yep.
So, yeah, more focused on soil and kind of more focused on cover crop and reduced tillage stuff. Whereas we did more soil health with prairie strips and stuff at the last one. So, yeah, been I'm doing a lot of event planning.
You're good.
You said you had 37 people at your Prairie Day.
Mhm.
How many producers?
It was maybe like of the, I guess I'll say a couple of those people were some of the planning people and some other folks as well. I'd say it was maybe a third to closer to just under a half producers. It was definitely a mix. There was some folks, there were some other conservation district staff from other people who came. We had some folks who were farmers. There was actually some people from some landscaping companies too who came, who are looking to work with farmers and help promote more prairie strips and pollinator habitat. So it's kind of a mix of people. But yeah, everyone who came had some sort of relationship with farming in general, from what I understood, just maybe weren't directly farmers themselves.
There was a few beginning farmers also who are looking at like, where do I start?
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Good question.
mhm.
Over on Fitzgerald and like 104th. There's a new prairie,
Mhm.
30 some acres. And
Oh.
did they do that through us? There's nothing on it that says
Oh.
Ottawa County Conservation. But I know it's a young couple just bought this place, built a new house.
Oh, is that in, what, is that in
That would be
Utica?
Unica.
Oh, yeah, that's one of our RCP projects.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just was curious, like say our name ain't, he's got a nice sign out.
Yeah, they've
stating
got
what
a-
He's trying to do, but
Mhm.
you know,
They did have our name, I think they updated the name at one point. They had said like all the people who were partnered on it. Did it still say Ottawa Conservation on it? Did at one point. I think they updated it when they said like, oh, like Prairie in Progress, but yeah, that is one of our RCP projects.
I kind of chuckle because with Leonard being shut down, there, a lot of traffic is, going
Going
down
through
that
there. Mhm.
back country road right
That's
now.
cool.
So I was like, yeah, but it's just a unique, that's quite a large one.
Mhm.
From what you normally see. I think,
Yeah.
still. But, good.
Benjamin?
July was pretty busy, had all my quarterly reporting, that I had due, plus some of the final reporting and finishing up one of the grants, closing out one of our grants. A lot of monitoring, so we're in the middle of, 5-week sampling, we finished up Spring Lake Norris Creek, that whole watershed, for nutrients, E. coli, some of those metrics. Now we're doing a lot of the direct drainage that goes directly into the Grand River, and we're on week 5 now, I think, of that. And then a lot of P51 fish surveys last month, so it was a ton of fun.
And macroinvertebrate surveys.
Yeah.
Those are also good.
She loves the bugs.
I loved your little video.
Yeah,
about
that video was really.
Yeah, it
cute.
was great.
I'm working on a fish one where Ben's explained some stuff
Nice.
too.
Thanks.
Good. Busy. Alrighty, any questions of the printed reports? Partner updates, that's basically what them reports are, is from the partners, correct, or
That's
is that?
NRCS.
NRC, yeah.
Alright,
And guards.
and you, who wants to go first?
I can go, it's fine. So NRCS, I missed the last meeting, so I'm just gonna do, probably June through, July. That's updates. But, I just working on obligating program contracts, so the CSBC, CRP, EQIP, and RCPP. The new fiscal year is coming September 30th, so we're kind of working to beat that deadline for a few things. Right now, we have a few new obligations that have been approved and fully contracted, in the past few months. We have one CSP for about 20,000, one EQIP classic forestry for about 7,000, and two RCPP cover crops for about 33K each. There are a few approved CSP applications. There are 2 right now, totaling about 112,000. There are some pre-approved applications for EQIP OTI, which is the Organic Transition Initiative. 2 ASAP ALEs that are still pre-approved, but still pending at this time, so we're working on that.
Making a lot of progress though, we're getting there.
And I'll get that stuff to you tomorrow. We have like, I guess something for the ATL, so
Oh,
I
good.
get that for you tomorrow.
Okay, I don't think that's for one of those, but
I
anyway,
don't think it's
that's,
priority, so it's hitting on, yeah.
yeah, I'm not even sending NRCS anything that
Good
doesn't
deal.
have to do with those two applications. I'm
deal.
gonna wait until the end of the fiscal year.
Hey, that's perfect. And we still have 5 pre-approved CSP applications. So basically right now, everybody that applied for CSP this fiscal year has been selected. And they come out with the second best of funding for that CSP program, so pretty decent for CSP, when we thought we weren't getting at least 25% this year, so. Working diligently, thanks to Tracy, Sarah, and Megan working on that stuff with us, and Andrew also, let's see. Payments to farmers for this, I guess, quarter, these couple months from June through August, it's about 2,444,000 for projects that include brush management, watering tanks, and residue and tillage management. Events, the 2 events that we kind of attended in the past month or so, had 2 pretty good events. My strips was at Shady Side, and also the Ottawa County Farm Bureau meeting at Critter Barn on the 31st. That was pretty decent. And site visit highlight CSP and equip field verifications were taking place between June and August for new applicants for fiscal year 26. We actually haven't signed up. Things are kind of going through the system right now. I'm not sure how I think things are going to be as far as funding for next fiscal year, but we're still taking applications and we're still kind of proceeding as regular. And we also had a few certification site visits for planned activities for fiscal year 25, which were things related to fencing, grass waterways, and water facilities. So we got a few things done in a short amount of time. Goals for the upcoming month, complete QAR for the remaining CSP applications. There's only about probably 2 or 3 that's remaining that needs to be reviewed. So we're kind of in a good space right now as far as CSP applications. Another goal is to certify basically the practices that are planned for this year. We have about a month or so, a month and some change to certify these practices. So time is kind of cutting close. So we may have to end up doing the modifications, which are due by September 12th. So we have like a month left, well, exactly a month to get these modifications to the system. So NRCS has been doing quite a bit, but yeah, we've been doing quite a bit. It's kind of, I guess we're still short staffed. The hiring freeze is over, potentially October 15th. So, fingers crossed we will get somebody or some more people hired at this time or at that time. But for right now, this is where we are. So it's working, we have, and doing pretty decent in my opinion. So, but I guess this last thing, I should take it off this form, but any resources needed from the board, none at this time. Do we need anything, does NRCS need to provide anything to the board at this time, or just vice versa?
A good helpful update.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Andrew,
Okay, do we want to do that or we want to
Oh,
do Jack's
we
first?
got Jack. No, I don't want you guys fighting.
I'd lose that one.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Go for it then.
I'll be brief. We've got the report in front of us. I'll highlight a couple of items in there, and this is something that Jamie and Rick have already heard. And if I miss anything or if I get something wrong, feel free to fill in the low spot. A couple of things with the budget. The state still doesn't have a fiscal year 2026 budget in place yet. So from a budgeting standpoint, as far as the district's concerned, you can safely plan on $40,000 coming in for the operating grant. There's a chance that could go up by $1 million, so that'd be about another 10,000 to the district, but we don't want to count our chickens just yet. With respect to CTAP, that's a different funding source altogether. It's the freshwater fund. And that sunsets on December 31st, and there's negotiations that are sort of on hold until the budget's done. So we won't know what's what. What I do know is from September 1st to December 31st, nothing will change in terms of the amount of 2 districts for CTAP. They'll remain the same. the grant's gonna look a little different. Rather than us telling you how much to have in each line item, we're gonna let districts determine that on their own. You can determine how much you want to put forth for technical assistance, for administrative, for cost share, and for those 4 primary line items. I think it's a creative way to give districts more flexibility in how they run the program. It's new to me. I've never seen it in 30 years, but I don't think it's a bad idea either. One thing that we expect is we're gonna see a wide range around, across the state of how much technicians get paid, and they're gonna start talking right away. So the lower ones at the lower ends are gonna be kind of grumpy. But we're like with any change, you're gonna come up with hiccups. With respect to produce safety, what I've been told is that remains the same also. I think they're trying to look for additional funds to bump the grants up a bit, but I don't know where they're at on that. I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions from Jack?
I will just add to that, mostly, Andrew and Jamie, there may be some other changes coming out in those grants, but that is to be released.
Okay.
All I've seen is the draft.
Yeah, So I just have a dumb question. So
Sure.
it's the FY 26 grant, but you don't know if there's reauthorization after December 31, so you don't know yet, no budget, what it will be, is the grant amount just for through December 31, and then there's gonna be an amendment, or what?
It's set up to be, so MDOT was trying to change these into 3-year grants rather than 1-year grants. That is not happening because of the uncertainty about funding. It's still a 1-year grant, but it is subject to reauthorization of freshwater protection.
So is it written for a regular amount for a full fiscal year?
Yes.
But then, if there's no money, then it just
Right.
defaults to whatever clauses are in it that govern that.
Yeah, and I would expect if the fund does get refunded, reauthorized, I would expect that things would change. If my crystal ball is working right and there's an increase in the fund, the grants will increase.
Well, and just to be clear, no one at any level is discussing any reality where the freshwater trust fund is not renewed. It's renewed every 5 years. It has been for a very, very long time. That's not even remotely in the realm of possibility. The only discussion is about, is it renewed at the existing level, which is what has happened the last 2 renewals, is that it's just been renewed at the existing level. Or can we convince agribusiness primarily to raise fees? And increase the fund? Or will the other third alternative is that some funding for elements of the program like MEP or that may come from general budget funds to supplement the freshwater trust fund. So it's really, does it stay the same? Does it raise through the freshwater trust fund, or does it raise through some combination of the fund and general purpose?
So when we present appropriations, it's just gonna be as it is now until we can make an amendment. In January, I guess, would be able to do that.
Possibly sooner if like negotiations are complete and we have clarity, but safe to say, Jane.
There's 2 sources of funding that go into that pot of money. One is basically a direct tax on farmers, which is $1 per ton of fertilizer. The other one is a registration fee for any entity that registers a product for use in the state. There's 16,000 of those. And that's not just agrochemicals, but it's also Raid, Yard Guard, Decon, Clorox bleach. Those registrants have to pay $270 in order to sell those products in the state. MACD has put something on the table that would increase that to $500. And with the general understanding that Monsanto can afford it, and it's not gonna pass those costs on. That $500 bill on down the line. It's cost doing business.
All right. Question? All right, now we can do Andrew.
Okay. Well, I put on your desk there my goals so far since I started in February. But in the month of July, I was able to be, some of the accomplishments that I was a part of was I sat on a soil health panel at the Woodenbach Center. I was kind of a recruit, cause the Kent County Meat Tech couldn't go, so that was a really good event to be a part of. Also did a lot of trainings in July, so I was at, the Heart Research Station, for beginning farmer webinar that they did there, a lot of soil health stuff. And then you'll notice on my goal sheet that the soil health assessments, soil field, sampling and farmer surveys, they were all 0 going into June. As we didn't have the, from the Regen Ag group, we didn't have the info regarding that, so I picked up on that here in the last 3 months, so it doesn't look like I haven't done anything. So, but the only thing right now, after talking with Jack and Dan Busby, the meat verifier, the only 2 that will be close, as we end the fiscal year is the re-verifications and new verifications, just because I didn't get out into the field and meet, you gotta meet the farmers and introduce them to the program and introduce them to yourself, so, it was about April when I started getting in that, when I started last week of February, so, we're picking up on that, and we're gonna be close by October 1st. And let's see, what else do I got here? Yeah, Sarah already touched on this, we had a meet phase 1 event, prairie strips. And then I also have the flyers to our soil cookout over there, if any of you wanna take that as well. So, I'll take questions.
That soil cookout is August 27th,
28th,
28th.
yep, 12 to 2.
Quick question on the farmer surveys.
Yep.
So, you didn't get them till later in the year. First of all, what's been the feedback from MDARD about like changes in expectations because you didn't get those sooner? Are they okay with
Well-
that being, those numbers being lower? Have you gotten any pushback about that?
Nope, and Alex was in today and, the Ottawa counties went up, I think I'm at 7 now, but, from what it sounds like, I've talked to other technicians in the Busby Verified group, and they said that if they are at like the numbers that say I'm at, or other technicians, roughly around 6 to 8 soil health assessments, they're kind of getting a push. They're, all right, you guys, you've got it now, go out and get on fields and whatnot. But what's happening on their end too is the farmers are busy. So it's kind of been a 2-way street with that, but yeah, I personally haven't heard anything new, and with the surveys and that, they haven't. We have to go on and look, and nobody tells us how many have done it, we just look at it ourselves, so.
On average, how long does it take for a farmer to complete that survey?
Yep.
Is it pretty quick? Is it pretty involved?
I would say 5 to 10 minutes, I did it for our farm in Osceola County, and it was about 5 to 10 minutes,
Okay.
so, yeah. And there's about 3 meat questions on there, so the rest is all background on their farm, and it's, anonymous, so nobody knows who you are in that, but yeah, it was pretty simple.
So you're just doing those surveys as a part of when you're out on the farm anyway, doing other parts of meat?
Yep,
just
you can
adding
do
them on,
that.
It's not like a standalone thing you're doing.
No, and what I've done is if I've been on a meat risk assessment, I've asked, hey, if you got 5 to 10 minutes, put this out. And then, I've also shot emails out to Karen, left a great email chain, so I've just emailed farmers on that as well, so kind of both worlds, yep,
Oh, looks like you're doing good.
thank you.
Just for a little encouragement, he was by my farm and it was, I think, the hottest day of the summer.
No, he was at mine the hottest day.
A lot on the days.
He did a lot of walking and a lot of.
Yeah.
Sweat.
Mhm.
He was busy at it.
Yep. Thank you. All right,
Thank you.
yep, thank you,
Good work.
Thank you.
yep.
Executive Director report.
Here I am. So if you look in the front of the reports, just part of what I'll be doing is just furnishing of a report to you all in advance with the rest of the reports. I'm a big fan of efficiency and like kind of working through, so I encourage you to do your best to go over that in advance, and I'm just gonna highlight a few things that I've been working on, but I like to give you a little more of like an exhaustive list than what I'll talk about, so I'm not boring your brains during this time, so broken down into sections, and some of these things we're gonna hit on in each one of the committee conversations, so I just wanna let you know about that. So a few things I wanna highlight under finances. So we're in the beginning of the appropriations process. Was actually sent a document from NDART about our typical sort of process for how we get done appropriations, and that was really helpful. We're a little behind the 8 ball according to that kind of plan, and we'll hit on that in finance. But we're gonna get caught up, and we should have an appropriations budget for board review at the next meeting. And there's also some stipulations about advertising that, posting it publicly, putting a newspaper article out and allowing public comment. So
Is that in response to that article that went to?
I'm not really sure. My understanding is that that is what
Process
we,
is always done.
yeah, we are supposed to always
Never
do
heard of
that.
it Before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
publicly post it, yeah, because you're appropriating.
So
Yeah.
the recommendation is to have like a micro meeting before our board meeting. That's just a short opportunity for public comment on budgets.
Is it technically, it's just a public hearing, right? You're holding a
Yeah,
public hearing.
yeah, open it.
Yep,
do
open
it,
public hearing,
close it.
close the public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I've actually provided that document in here under the finance section, so you can review it and give some thought to it. We've been, Annalise and I have been looking at the budget very closely, and we've identified the high probability of a 20K when fall meeting will have some excess funds at the end of the year, largely in part to a gap in having a MEP person. And then also there was some existing funds between executive directors and even stipends we paid out. So the hope is that at the end of the year, we would be able to have a little nest egg to help carry us through some of the leaner times. A little fallback fund. That's what it's looking like at this point. In terms of grants, there was 2 proposals that came through. Both were NIFWIF grants. And we're looking at 2 different positions for that. We know with Tracy's funding, it ends in December. And so I've been looking at what is kind of the next steps for her position. What do we need to do? And I'm a big proponent of creating redundancy in funding to make sure that we are able to retain our great staff, which we have incredible staff. And so we applied for a technical assistance position, which would focus on pollinators and native plantings. And as we said at the kind of beginning of the meeting, when we were just chatting, probably it's either first or second in terms of what we get contacted for is around native plantings and pollinators. Tracy already fields a ton of emails and questions related to that. So that would be, if we're able to get that fund, that would be, that particular grant is a 2-year grant and would be able to cover her position. And then the other one is a technical assistance. So we have 1 more year on our CPP. And that is not something we're gonna wanna renew at this point. So we're looking at what does it look like to have some additional support for CSPs and supporting NRCS. So we wrote, Megan and I worked on a TA grant, which is sort of a support grant for CSP. And access to equip. And that would allow Megan to actually do some on-farm TA work and support as well. So those are 2 grants that we have in process. The total value of those 2 grants, and I did a breakdown on the other sheet, is around $1 million. It's the ask. And as we look at Tracy's position, there's some more redundancy in terms of potential grants. We are gonna go for the NACD grant still. They allocated, I believe it's 27 million this year, which is, I think, double from last year, correct? Yeah, so.
Which is countrywide.
Yeah, countrywide. And a lot of these grants are highly competitive, especially with the change in funding landscape for organizations like ours. So that was, again, that was another that NACD is gonna be, would be a technical assistance ask, supporting CSPs, equip, things like that. So we're going to apply for that in anticipation that we may or may not get the NIFWIF grant and then be able to respond to that accordingly. Other than that, we have a potential opportunity for an ask proposal to the county related to the watershed funds, Monsanto. There, we were approached and said, hey, guys, essentially, what would it look like if you were to put together a proposal to engage with some of those funds so that it benefits the entire county? And so Ben, Sarah, and I are gonna be working on that. We have basically 2 weeks, right, to put that together roughly.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be an ask there.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Is that funds we have now or addition?
Additional. It'd be an additional. We're looking at potentially a 2 or 3 year ask. And again, I was talking about redundancies with funding Tracy's position. There is potential to really highlight that how the pollinator and native planting work in that proposal as well, because we're really looking at developing a holistic plan for watershed restoration and management and support. So
I think the second one, it would be more focused on like cost shared type, like trying to get EMPs on the ground versus where our first proposal is more monitoring.
mhm. Getting money into the hands of community members to implement some of these practices that helps their watershed, so.
Will that be based on, or have the ability to base on any of the data that we're getting from the first grant, or will we not have enough data?
Yeah, so the conversation we had with Joe kind of hinged on that a lot. I mean, if we were to have some type of countywide BMP program, obviously we'd want a lot of fair stipulations in there. We'd want to focus the funding on high priority areas based on some of the monitoring that's already been taken in the last few years, plus the monitoring we're doing now. I think also we've talked about stipulations in there where, you know, if you're already in an eligible watershed that has 319 funding, go through that, you know, rather than applying for this countywide funding. So there's lots of ways that we want to make those dollars stretch and go to the high priority areas. So.
And at least in preliminary conversations, we're looking at, I think potentially more than half the funds would go out to cost share.
Yeah.
So, and we would be able to manage that program versus having some top-down pressure on how we utilize that cost share fund. So in a episode of Catch Me If You Can, have you guys seen that movie? We, Annalise discovered a check fraud. Someone must have intercepted a check that had gone out for cost share in the mail system and developed their own check. And I think paid themselves $1,633. Annalise was going through, and the only thing that caught it as we were looking at it was the check numbers were out of order. It was like 20 checks down. So then when we looked at it, we went and checked the safe, and the check's still there for the check number. And we looked at signatures, and they copied your signature and they copied Annalise's signature. And they were,
To make it to the account or no?
it did, the money did get refunded to us by Chase, but we're gonna need to do something different with those accounts because that information's out there. But it was wild. They said it was one of the best forged checks that they'd seen come through. The check numbers were out of order.
She was waiting to reconcile.
Yeah.
Check wasn't coming in and wasn't coming in.
Well, when we look at the statement, you can see the check numbers as they're written, and it was like 20 checks. Like further,
We still have.
and Yeah, and then we still had the check when we looked into the safe,
So it
so,
was a name she didn't recognize.
yeah. And the name was weird, and the signature on the back of the check, the name was spelled differently from the front of the check, and that was another thing. And then comparing signatures side by side, they were very close, but they weren't exactly the same,
Well,
so.
and so there was, what we kind of think may have happened is we sent out a cost share check for a septic system. And a couple weeks went by, we got a call from the landowner, hey, I still don't have my check. And they never got it. So. That's.
So we think that would have been, that's where they got the information. There's no other way that I could imagine they would have.
Left it from the mailbox or.
Or
Yeah,
maybe it landed in somebody
Interesting.
else's box by
Yeah.
mistake and it was just an opportunity for.
But didn't it
On the
get
Ferris.
cast to New Jersey or something?
no, it was a New Jersey address, but I believe it was cashed at the local Chase.
Here?
Yes.
Here? Oh,
And so they're gonna be reviewing film and stuff to try to figure it out, but that's their investigation. They did give us the money back right away.
Good, good
Yeah,
catch. That sucks. People
And
stop.
Annalise caught it. Good job.
she did an awesome job. The only other thing I wanna highlight from this, the 1099 doesn't matter, I just put that in there, that was, cause I sat on the phone with the IRS for most of my life, way too many hours, actually. So, t-shirt sales, if you look in the office, we did our larger t-shirt sale, or t-shirt order. And it was really cool. Morgan has been doing an incredible job of going out and talking to local vendors. And so they're gonna start, there's a handful. Do you call off the top of your?
Haven and Maine is one, and then Blue Stocking Bookshop in Holland is another one. First Edge said they would be more interested in like the tent sale type thing and not always having it in store. And then they suggested to talk to some other folks too that we can reach out to. Yep.
So we'll be doing some retail sales of our shirts.
I wonder
Um,
if some of our past sponsors of events that have storefronts, like the Brittany's the owner, the coffee shop in Grand Haven.
Oh, they
Yeah,
said no, just because they didn't have a lot of storefront space, so they didn't want it to be like too crowded.
or what about Bowerman's? Cause they've also
yeah.
sponsored in the past too, and they have quite a big storefront space.
Yeah, they have more space than.
So the tags we designed for it gives some information about the district. And so people can know what they're supporting and purchasing this. And obviously the funds come back to us. It allows us to cover the cost of the t-shirt, plus ordering a new one, plus profit margin on top of that. And the stores also get a portion of the sales. So
Nice.
the goal just to generate some sort of unrestricted funding that is what I would say is like semi-passive. Obviously, we have to restock, but largely we're not doing those sales. It would have been great if we had it out for Coast Guard. We couldn't quite get it done by then, but hoping that the next batch of tourists that come through will be interested in that kind of thing. So.
It specifies those plant and tree shirts.
Are like the ones that you're wearing?
Yeah, the one that, Morgan's wearing. There you go.
And then there's a tree one.
Yeah, and they have 2 colors each, so
Yeah.
some options.
And if you're like me and you get grease stains on your shirt, we got 2 different heathered ones. So it looks like you can hide a grease stain in there. Just so you know. Yes. All right. Really neat thing taking place with human resources. Both Morgan and Muriel brought ideas about how we might do some equity training for the staff. And so then Muriel had a great connection with someone here locally. And so we're gonna be doing, using one of our staff meetings to have that person come in and do some training. And then Muriel's also working with her on that training, so. Really appreciate the initiative they took on that. I think that's gonna be great for the team. In terms of the Brendan, we'll touch on that later. staff evaluation, I was able to do that with Jack here for Andrew and Morgan, so those are done at this point. I'm not gonna hit on outreach and events. As you look at that, are there any questions about that? I've been to a lot of meetings and different committees and things like that, so. Those are just some of the things that I've been doing over the last couple months. Something that was great, we were talking in our regular NRCS meeting about making sure that we had resources together for farmers as we're doing outreach to be aware of what programs they could be a part of. And so Ibrahim and a group of our staff put together some folders that can go directly to farmers with all different resources that they can access, just to make sure we're doing a good job of resourcing the farmers that we encounter, and they can go to events with us and we can pass it out if there's beginning farmers or other people that are interested in that kind of work.
We should put it up on my farm link. Flyer next.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have my whole
Yes, you
own
should.
binder.
we'll bring some our way if you
There'll
want.
be more coming soon.
So I mentioned here on goals for upcoming month. Staff reviews, finance appropriations. I would like to do some sort of end of year, not end of fiscal year, but end of year. Giving campaign just to trial what our social media has done, to trial people who have come to workshops with us and just see what sort of interest there would be in giving directly to us. We have contacts, but I wouldn't say that we have a donor base. Yes, some people have given us donations, but what I would love to see in one of my funding strategy plans is to develop like some sort of Friends of Ottawa Conservation District. I don't know what name yet, but basically that we would develop a stable donor base that would help us create some of those unrestricted funds that we could use to support the district's work. And so part of that is just trialing it to see. I would love to
Districts that have a
leverage.
strong group like that, yeah, I can't. think of
Misaki
any.
does.
Yeah,
Oh,
Misaki has a
does.
great friends.
Yeah,
of
some of
group.
their friends have come to
Mhm.
some of the events and stuff. there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that primarily the only one that has a friends of? Does?
No, there are definitely
Grand
other
Traverse?
ones.
I think Grand
I
Traverse
think they
does.
do.
Grand Traverse
Allegan
does some
might.
consistent.
Yeah, they do have a lot of individual donors in Grand Traverse.
It's in the bank.
None of these friends of, so are their own standalone nonprofit like you would see for
Misaki is.
Masaki's is their own
Yeah.
standalone nonprofit.
In most of the 13 districts that would have run a millage probably have that, because typically they have that friends of group run the
Just get
millage.
the millage and then they just hang around.
Right,
Yeah, that makes
exactly,
sense.
yep. And Alger's doing something, cause they have like a very, very strong cash position, so I need to have some more conversations with Alex. Be like, where are you guys coming up with all this
Mhm.
money?
I think.
Careful what you ask, you might learn some things you didn't know.
I think as a matter of concept, people gave towards the truck when it was crushed by a tree, and people do like to do that GoFundMe sort of like, I come to the rescue. But I do think there is interest in Ottawa County to support organizations that are doing this kinds of conservation work. I mean, ODC sees it. So I would love to be able to utilize MACD's nonprofit to at least incentivize that, where they would get a tax write-off through giving through MACD. Again, proof of concept, we should try it. And I've built donor programs before. I know how to do it. I know how to work with donors. I just want to see if we can do something with it.
So point of reference, you will need MACD's nonprofit fiduciary status for private foundations,
Okay,
but individual donors, you can get a letter from MDARD that states that you're a tax exempt organization.
okay,
Governmental public purpose, so that
yes.
that is a tax.
Yes.
exempt.
okay, great.
Yep, so individual donors, you can do that without our help,
Okay,
but
that's
the
good. to know.
bigger family foundations and things like that, you will need
You
the
need- Yeah,
501c3 on.
okay. Good, that's helpful to know. I was not aware of that. Just gonna put a reminder note here for myself.
And if you need a sample letter in the shared drive, the shared MACD resource drive for district managers, there's a sample one of Kent's letter
Okay.
that was like reviewed by the attorney that's on their board, so it was all kosher, that you can totally, completely plagiarize.
Perfect. Great. And then just identifying some resources that would be helpful. You know, 501c3 access, you've heard me talk about this. It is how I know how to raise funds. And so again, in order for us to sort of have a proof of concept, it's something we need to try. And grants and foundations is simply a numbers game. You have to write a bunch and you know, you don't know what or how many you're gonna get in that process, but it is a numbers game. One of the things that, and I'm just giving you a heads up, I know we've gone in circles about this, so I'm gonna bring it up anyway. I see a critical need for some additional like staff funding, for training and development and mileage and things like that, so. That's something that I'm gonna put into the proposal for discussion for the next budget. Especially given we have lost a lot of supportive training, not Ibrahim's fault, but from NRCS, specifically around soil training and soil health, things like that. And so I'm looking for ways to supplement some of that training and be able, I know each program has a training budget, but there's definitely a need and a demand for that, so.
I blame you, Green.
It's your individual.
And then the last piece of this is just continue. I am doing as much networking as I can within the circles, but if you have folks that I need to meet and talk to, please do that. Jack has been really good. I'm meeting with Cheyenne pretty soon from Farm to Family. She runs the Farm to Family program. They invited me along to go to Community Action House because they did a grant to them. So I'm going tomorrow with one of their interns and their coordinator. I'm meeting over at GVSU Farm tomorrow morning with Yumi, and thanks to Morgan for introducing me to Yumiko, is she the head of the sustainability program at
I
GVSU?
believe so,
Okay,
my understanding.
so trying to meet as many folks as I can and figure out how we can continue to collaborate and support each other in the community, so. That is all the things. Any questions?
Have any questions at this time? I already asked them.
Yeah, Doug.
Oh, good.
Already. Get back to my office. That brings us up to the finances. Finance committee report. Doug.
I don't know how I can beat Jamie on that one. Pretty much covered everything that we talked about.
Yeah.
Well,
Once again.
there's a lot of things to talk about.
No, there's really nothing that stands out, from the report, from the meeting. Like I said, Jamie's running down some.
The only thing, like, we're working on the budget when we talked. Anybody else involved in input on this? On the 2026 budget? I mean, everybody's gotta have ideas, right?
What do you mean as far as our
Adding-
district
Add
budget? or-
things you want in there. And
I mean, I agree with Jamie that training, and I would add to that. I think board development is really important, like we've talked about it a little bit here and there. But I think, things, especially as the greater environment is changing so rapidly, both at the state and federal levels. Applicable laws, implementation of fiduciary oversight, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think, finding ways to continue to invest in ourselves as board members,
is also worth including in the budget, because I think our ability to do our job as board members better means that there's more resources available for the district as a whole.
I'm happy to provide input on it, but I have not reviewed it, because it's budget season and you guys are working on it, and I don't know enough
Well,
about
it's
it.
easier to put some in now than later.
Well,
I don't have anything to put
Right.
into right now, I'm not.
Last one.
So, I mean, yeah, so I don't know what the proposed changes are, and I did not review last year.
Maybe you can send everybody a copy of the budget.
That'll be helpful.
Get over.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of what will be discussed in September, but I would, in the future, Jamie's new and everything, but in the future,
Right.
we'd be having a discussion in August now.
Right.
Doing like a work session on the budget and hammering it
Right.
out, because we have to adopt it in September. So,
Mhm.
I mean, in the future, we'll be doing this more, it'll be budget season.
Now,
for
have we
everybody
done
else.
that in the past? All of us? I mean, hasn't it been the finance committee kind of hammers it out and then?
I couldn't tell you exactly.
Bring it.
It's been,
Ideally, we shall like.
Ideally,
you know,
yes.
But I mean, well, I mean,
you know, we kind of,
well, the work session, but as far as in the past, the last 4 or 5 years, we've been,
it's a little bit of the finance, but it was the board as a whole.
well, no, we bring it back to the board and then we all kick around.
Yeah, I mean,
Thanks.
you guys would look at it and go, okay, well, here's where we
Yeah.
see some opportunities, and then bring it to
And
us,
take
the full
staff-
board for
staff.
fodder, and then we all give feedback, and yeah, so it'd take like a meeting or two till you get to the final product we wanna vote on in September, so we're not doing all of the discussion in September. Like this time, we'll be doing all of that
Yeah.
discussion in September, but that's just the way it could crumble this year, so.
But I
Yeah.
do think, I mean, we're gonna have something to you. A draft.
Yeah, to review
budget,
in advance,
You know,
yes.
prior to meetings, so
The
you
new
don't
one.
come to the meeting, put eyes on it, and
Right.
go, oh.
Yeah.
Thought of this yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, I mean, I guess that was our goal,
Yeah.
is to get that out.
I found this to be really helpful. It's in your packet. This is MDARD's like suggested timeline. And, essentially May and June are like really when we start dipping into this. And then, so knowing that, now that I know this too, it's gonna allow me to help, navigate that for us next year to make sure that we meet deadlines. And you're right, August is a big review time for the budget. We're just a little behind right now.
That's all right, I mean, we're in good shape. I mean,
To be fair,
Yeah.
the state's behind, the federal government is behind.
I'm not complaining by any means, I'm simply saying, I don't have any input right now, but I will give input. That's all.
So, the timeline on this too, Annalise and I are meeting, Thursday to really dig through the appropriations budget as it stands, see where we are per each line item. And I'm gonna put together some recommendations, and then we're gonna meet with finance to bring that to them. And then we can once we've met, we can send that draft out to you all for review.
And we're doing good on FY 25, we don't have to make any amendments or anything, we've not gone.
No,
Oh,
we,
we're on
I
expenses.
No, we're-
we ain't that long.
Funded that thing, because that doesn't seem right.
No,
We did such a great job budgeting last year.
Fans,
I
bloody
think
tax.
Natalie did it, and these guys did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they held it to the line, I mean, so
Yes,
they-
yes. I mean, and we got some money a little bit, and it wasn't the cash crunch, and
all right. We need a motion to pay the bills. Is there any Is there any questions? Any discussion on said balance sheets, and it's all, financial packets, profit loss balance sheets, checking account, reconciliation. So that's all under one.
You said in your notes you were gonna explain the negative.
Yes. So, the breakdown is this, it's all that money is accounted for, we're just waiting for payout. So we've got $109,000 of that 144 that is already been requested, and we're just waiting. In fact, some of the payments are delayed. That's not our fault, it's just
The way it is.
it's just the way it is. Then there was, right before we did the profit and loss, we wrote checks which are signed today for cost share in the amount of $31,632.75. So those are cost share, that is money that will come back to us. And then there was another 9,861.59 in additional reimbursements. Mine is the only one that draws from the district. I think it was like $186 for mileage. The remainder of that will be pulled and reimbursed through grants. So all of that fund, all of those funds are accounted for. They're just not in the bank yet.
It's just the checks crossing in the mail.
Yes. So it's, I just wanted to make sure that you didn't think we were in trouble all of a sudden, because we're not. We know where all that money's coming from.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? There is not, we shall proceed to vote. All those in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Pay the bills.
The county does roll call when there's money involved. Are we supposed to be doing roll call? We should be doing roll call. when we
Yeah, when
approve-
there's expenditures.
There's expenditures, thank you, yes. So when we approve the bills just now, we should be doing roll call vote on that. Why didn't you say that?
We've never done
I tend to keep my mouth shut and when little things like that happen, because I would be talking all the time. Not here. Not here. Not here.
Again,
Professional
Wait a minute,
development.
now, in the past, when I've asked for a roll call vote, I've gotten some pushback of why you're doing a roll call vote. So. Just goes both ways.
So roll call vote before finance. Do I need to drop that in the agenda?
well, we need
No.
to know that, my experience with county government. It has been roll call vote and expenditures, and thank you for the clarity on that, you know, I said money, but
Yeah.
if you're going to spend, if the board's saying we're spending this money, it should be a roll call vote.
And it's
I think
public.
it's supposed to be. So
Makes sense.
we can just start doing that going forward. But only on expenditures, not everything financially
Yeah.
related, like statements or whatever.
Call us on the carpet.
She's
I
that
gotta
way.
make myself work it somehow, as it works.
I'll get back with you on that.
We'll tell you later.
Oh, great,
You want
can't wait.
you want me to have a roll call vote on who thinks you're? Not a roll call
Can
vote.
we stick to the agenda?
You're the one who's asking for feedback. Alrighty, so. We're on to cash flow. Jamie, we're not backing up. We don't back up here.
We just go.
So all I was gonna give you is the explanation for that 144 deficit. So you
That's
you
already
got
finished.
that. That's already done.
And we already went over the forgery, the check
Yep.
forgery account.
But account migration, does that mean are you changing account numbers? Is that what you mean?
So that's what we need to determine. I think this is probably gonna happen more at a finance meeting, but we had also talked about if we weren't gonna utilize Chase anymore, this may be a time to switch, so that we're not opening a new account, getting payments, everything set up, and then switching accounts.
Oh,
So that was part of the
Yeah, that makes
conversation.
You said something about switch. I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go.
Yeah, I mean,
It takes us forever to
either
get.
way, we have to open a new account, so then we just need to determine. Do we want us, I just don't like repeating work if.
Yeah, and that's a lot of work with all the.
Yeah.
you know,
It's a lot.
ACH and all this.
Yeah.
We did, Annalise did ask me about that. And I'll she relate it to you, but we could utilize the savings to account for a while. Don't just say, take everything out. Or leave some in there for a while, but we could focus more and then start a new checking account.
Yeah, so my suggestion to her was, could we open another account elsewhere? And migrate over more slowly, utilizing the savings, so I didn't know she talked to you about that, but.
Just in that first half.
Yeah.
More information to be coming forward. Great, at a later date. And then we kind of basically talked about the recommendation of the appropriations process. And requirements, so we're pretty much
Yep.
covered there. Does anybody else got is there anything that was unclear? And we're talking about MDARD and something being unclear. We don't wanna go there. So we're gonna say that we discuss that, which brings us to tree sale, t-shirts, cultivating resilience. Have we discussed all that, or is there something we
So-
need to input there?
This is more, letting you know. we're gonna establish in and out lines, basically to better track how those funds are coming in and out of our system, because it's all lumped together right now. So it's hard to determine, other than individual spreadsheets, like how much did cultivating resilience cost us? How much came in? Did we have carryover that we could use next year to book and just wanting to be really crystal clear on how money is flowing in and out of each one of those categories. So we're gonna create in and out lines just simply to ensure that we're tracking that well. And we know if something's profitable. What's that?
Create them where?
In QuickBooks.
Yeah, in QuickBooks.
Through classing them or something different?
I'll have to talk with Annalise. I don't know how, she said it's easy to do. So I'm not an accountant.
Jack, do they need to check in with Nadine about the chart of accounts to make sure it matches MDR's requirements?
Sort of. Well, there's a brand new chart of accounts that we haven't been able to release yet because it's still being reviewed by the executive office for over a year. So the technical answer is yes. The realistic answer is don't worry about it right now.
You may or may not be able to answer this, but do you think card, whatever, Amier is gonna be able to do some training on that in December? On the chart of accounts? Should I check with Christie?
Anybody other than Nadine?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, I'll check in with Christie on that.
Okay.
I asked that only because I'd like to see QuickBooks work, and I know that Annalise is working towards that, doing what I know it can do to help this stuff be more clear.
Yeah.
And everything flow through better.
Yeah.
So classing things.
Yeah.
Is one of those ways that
Mhm.
you can group things together and separate out what you wanna see
Mhm.
and don't wanna see.
Yeah, for me, it's just always being able to monitor cash flow, and I wanna know if we implement something new, like retail t-shirt sales, that it's profitable and makes sense. And that's one of the ways I evaluate it, is just looking at that specific line item.
And I know we kind of alluded to it, and it's in Jack's report, but you and Annalise know that you can reach out to Nadine for accounting questions.
I did not, but I can, now I do know.
She's the one that helped us with our tax problems.
Okay,
Nadine is great. Can't say enough good things about her.
great,
She does what I do, but in the southeast,
okay.
but she brings.
And still manages to help all the rest of the districts with their accounting. Come on, Jack. Are you being
Well-
a slacker or what?
This is a really sassy meeting.
Yes.
Our-
Wanna leave right now?
Hey, you know what? Nadine has never brought us a tie.
That's true.
That's true.
Oh,
Valid.
way to pull it out, Ben. Good job.
Wow. Save it.
And we need a motion to speak of the stipend and reinstatement of.
I make a motion to pay the stipend reinstatement for Annalise with back pay as recommended.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any? So what I'm looking for, any discussion on?
I'm gonna ask a question because I didn't understand it. Can somebody explain to me what happened?
Should I do it or you want Jamie to do it?
I don't wanna steal your thunder.
Go for it.
All right,
So Annalise has been doing the her role and the increased hours. Okay, since Jamie started and these guys got cut off. Okay, so she's kind of been doing it for free. Yeah, so Matt and I in our finance meeting, we agreed that this would be a good thing to keep her on, keep working with Jamie. And she's kind of taken over some of his roles, working with the
so
employees.
so we were triangulating on reporting, and so now which didn't make sense. There was sort of a triangulation where the executive director was in the middle of facilitating conversations, and then Annalise would do the reporting on the financial end, and so now we just cut out the middleman and have them do that together.
Straight up, Annalise was doing more work than what she had
Yes,
signed on
Yeah.
for. Correct.
Right,
And there was money there with what we saved from being the period in between Natalie and Jamie starting and
Mhm.
like all the stars and moon.
Well, how do we do that going forward?
I'm sorry,
How do we do that going forward?
we are,
Carmen, that's working on that one too, because
That's-
her whole thing's on October first.
Gotcha.
right, so that's, like I say, that's,
Yeah, this is to October first.
Got it.
so yes, so that's what that means. Any more discussion?
The 34 is the back pay and whatever else additional she gets through.
Through
The end of the fiscal year.
October,
Yep.
correct?
Yep. Through the fiscal year.
Doug, how do you vote?
Yes.
Becky?
I'm looking at the work agreement.
The same about the work agreement.
It's in this agreement. I'm looking at the things that are in there, which would include this, would it not?
So,
I said aye.
Tim, yes, Rivka
Yes.
passes. Human Resource Committee report.
Jamie, you want me to do it? We didn't really do anything. Jamie's doing the things. I'll say the words though for a minute. We've not met, but we recognize that we're going to need to meet.
Oh my God.
I know that might have been the worst thing I've ever said in a
No,
government.
I'm just, what a politically answer of, we didn't do nothing.
We didn't, but Jamie's got us.
We've had a lax month.
And we are going to get back to reviewing some of the policies like we were doing, things that we need to take care of, our address, some things that came up that Jamie's gonna speak to with regard to who participates in reviews for staff.
It's
that
okay to
work
have a little
under
slow time.
Jamie. And then also Jamie's gonna have his 90-day coming up, like next week.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about that review process. That's not really set forth in policy. that I
Well,
found.
that was always done by the board.
Right, but it's not really set forth in policy, so we'll talk about who's gonna participate and how we want that to work, we're all filling out a form, all that good stuff, so Tim and I will talk about that. Make a recommendation, but it probably should occur. I mean, soon, I mean, technically it should occur prior to September meeting, so.
Does the board usually take feedback from staff as well, as far as how things are going?
I couldn't.
Sure.
I got things to say.
I think, I mean, how we've done it
Shouldn't
with.
teach you about
with-
that popcorn.
I think that how we've done it before is we've given forms that staff can provide feedback.
Yeah.
And we accumulate
I
that.
couldn't remember.
So, yeah.
Well, I think so.
So if we wanna agree that
Does
Tim
it
and
all
I
fit?
maybe
Yeah.
can
Mhm.
do that
Yeah,
before
that's-
September's up.
That's what I think you should do,
Okay.
HR committee.
Okay, we will, Mr. Chair. We're gonna do it like bosses too. You're gonna be so impressed.
As long as you come back with some $10 explanation to the $2 problem, we'll just be all happy and giddy here.
We can't dazzle you with our brilliance, we'll baffle you with our BS.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's what we'll do. I'm not gonna speak to the policy bullet. I'll let Jamie do that. Do you have anything to add, Tim, to my report that's not really a report?
You're good.
Okay, perfect.
So one of the things that's come up in discussions as we're headed into review season for the team is my understanding, and again, I don't know if this is something written into policy, I need to dig into that, but is that board members have sat in on individual reviews. I think as I'm evaluating the way we do things, systems and structures, I like to make sure that when we do something like that, that it's an added value situation. And so some of the concern that I've gathered is just that the board doesn't get the chance to work with staff on a day-to-day basis. And so what level of input within those reviews is helpful to them? In other words, like what role does the board actually play in those reviews? And so that to me, it was a new experience. I've never had a situation where a board member sits in on reviews. And so I bring it as a question, and also to hear your perspective of how do you feel about that? Is that something the board even likes to participate in, and does it feel beneficial to the board? And what are the intentions with the board sitting in on reviews, and is that necessary?
I'll start it off with 3 quick things. The first thing is I agree that we probably don't bring a whole bunch of value to the individual being reviewed. That's just how it is. But is it good for us as board members to sit alongside you while you interact and provide feedback to staff? From our perspective with you as the leader, that helps us evaluate you eventually, so there might be some value there. But if it creates a weird dynamic for the individual being reviewed to have us there, then that's not beneficial either. There's just thoughts on having just right off the cuff.
Yeah.
And then my final thought would just be to look to Jack, and maybe if you have knowledge, or Rivka, because you work statewide too, you know, is that uncommon for board members to sit in that you're aware of, or, I mean,
It is.
just, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so fair enough then.
I was gonna ask that same question, cause off the top of my head, I can't think of a single other district who does it that way.
I don't think the board member will say brings anything to the interview or the, no, but I think it's good that, you know, if there's a board member who wants to, then they should. It basically makes the board member, you touched on it a little, it brings the board member, say, up to speed on that person and executive director. You know, it gives another dynamic of being involved with, you know, with the team. So again, I don't think we all need to, and I don't think it's an uncomfortable per se situation for the interviewee. You know, I mean, we're really not, again, bringing a whole lot to it. We're there as a, we want to know what your job is or how you're doing that type of thing. I think it's more to enlighten the board member of the process and maybe what that interviewee's job is. You know, we get a better picture of what they're actually doing. It makes us more informed. So,
I think we get more out of seeing them all here and get to see us more, and we can interact a lot more, all of us. And being in, you know, for a review, but we need to get the review from Jamie.
Mhm.
As a legal point, I think you should have someone sitting with you. Maybe Annalise, cause she's kind of helping you,
I don't agree with that.
you know?
No, there's a leader and then there's staff.
No, it's quite clear, he's the leader.
I know, I don't think a peer to peer coworker should be sitting at an employee
Yeah,
review.
I'm with you on that,
I'm pretty
but-
firm.
So don't you think that since we've done all these reports, that the board has a better handle what's going on? Maybe that board member on that happened before all the changes? So why is it necessary? I guess I'm.
I don't think it's necessary.
No,
to-
I'm not saying it's necessary, you know, I ain't saying we need to have, you know, one there, I'm just saying. I think it, you know, it's not necessary, and I ain't saying, yes, we need a board member there, I'm saying if one happens to be there or wants to be there.
Right, but she brought up an idea a couple weeks ago. She emailed us about just casually listening to the employees. They'll bring up, if there's issues with Jamie or with the leader, they will bring that up in a different way, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have that uncomfortable.
And I would say that that's a piece of that, you know, question that Sarah asked about staff involvement in Jamie's review. I think making sure that they have an opportunity, even anonymously, if need be, to like share their thoughts about working with him as a manager. I do think it's important to do whatever we can do to empower Jamie in that management role. And I know, both in a position of managing staff in a similar kind of way, as well as having sat in on, you know, and on the HR committee and some of these previously, I think it's can be a limiting factor for him as a manager to have a board member there to discuss something that maybe is a minor thing that needs to be discussed with a staff member, but that a board member could easily take out of context because they don't have the full awareness. And I don't want to make him or the staff feel limited about bringing up an issue because they're like, oh, is the board going to misunderstand this or think it's a really big issue when it's just a minor concern? I think maybe there's some kind of middle ground of empowering Jamie to kind of give a review to the board of here's kind of doing a report of the staff evaluations without it, you know, calling it to be out, but saying, you know, we did our staff evaluations. This is how it went. We identified, you know, opportunities for growth with each person and opportunities for success for each person. And, you know, answer any questions that board have about specific programs. But I also agree, I think we've gotten a lot from the reports from staff as far as what they're doing. We have a pretty clear idea at this point, you know, as far as our management roles, board members, or not management, oversight role as board members. I think we get a pretty good picture from those reports.
I think maybe Jamie just reports to HR in case there is a couple little things, they can work it out.
And I do definitely want to make sure that the staff has opportunity to provide feedback to the board about how we can be supportive. I mean, I think having that section in their reports is helpful, but obviously it's not anonymous. And so I think once a year, having the staff have an opportunity to anonymously say, you know, here's, do we feel supported by the board? Not less so. What are things that could improve and not, I need this help with my job, but in a bigger picture kind of way.
To follow up on what Tim said, Tim and Jamie and I talked and we did start, you know, put a call out to staff, or Jamie did for me. That, you know, if anybody wants to sit and have a cup of coffee, talk about whatever, you know, virtual, meet somewhere. I, as in my role as a board member on behalf of the board, sit with whomever wants to and chit chat. And if you don't, super duper. If you do, get a hold of me. We'll have coffee and talk. So just keeping that door open whenever. So.
And I will say too, as to your question about what do other boards do, I mean, we have an exceptionally high level of interaction between board and staff just across the board. You know, there are boards that literally don't allow their staff members to come to board meetings because they feel like that's an inappropriate thing for the staff and the board to interact directly, that's the district manager's role, which I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying, you know, on a spectrum of very involved to not involved at all, we are incredibly involved on a daily basis with our staff.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with not having any sort of requirement to have a board member there, but to Matt's point, if one of us should want to sit in for whatever reason that might be, we can, if we want to.
There was also a questionnaire that went out to you guys for the ED, right?
We did that.
That's what I
for
thought there
Natalie.
was.
Probably do a similar.
I'm a little concerned, Becky, about having like an open door policy of if you want to, any board member could sit in on any individual employee if they want to. Because I think that opens up potential issues of like,
Intimidating.
yeah, like picking out a single individual staff member. I don't think, like, I don't see any potential issues right now with current staff and current board, but always with policy, you have to think about like, how can this go off the rails?
Right.
So what if they ask? What if they ask?
They, the employee, or they, the board member,
Employee asks
to have one?
to have a board member.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a good. If the employee themselves asks for a board member to be present.
But don't you think he'd be more open in a private setting without, if he's gonna ask, to me, he's got an issue with the ED.
Right.
He's gonna wanna share that privately, not when the ED's sitting there,
I guess, that's true.
right?
And they'd reach out
They're gonna reach out to somebody or something, or
they all know.
something.
To really mess with people, you could all go to one person's. Post it as an official meeting.
Yeah, I think,
I mean, that's no brainer.
Ben just volunteered himself.
So
When is yours?
I wanted to create room
I'm
for this
actually
kind of
resigning next week.
for this kind of
tenure.
feedback, but my recommendation would be, in terms of board feedback, that I could curate that as part of the review process, and I could provide it to the board in an anonymous fashion at post reviews. I do believe that for the sake of the staff and the sake of the review process, because a lot of times people look at reviews as a disciplinary time and process. That's not how I look at reviews. And so I want to create space and safety for that staff member to talk about personal goals and professional goals and those kinds of things. So I could do a report on each person if that's required by the board. I would say if there was any, because we don't have an official HR person other than myself. If there was some disciplinary issues that we needed to address and I needed further support or wisdom, I could go to the board HR committee and basically seek insight. And then if it's a escalating issue, then perhaps board involvement at that point.
And I think there's policy and work agreements that drive that too, from a disciplinary
Yeah.
standpoint, that you have to
Yeah.
follow, but Yeah, but
Um,
in terms of reporting out, I mean, we have to trust in you as our leader and, you know, we don't wanna overly micromanage or make it overly burdensome, so. I don't know how much.
Yeah.
Well, just as short as, just as short as 10 to 12 years ago, the board got chastised that they didn't have any involvement with the employee. You know, so yes, our managers over the last couple of years have really have pushed.
Yeah.
You have, I mean, but 10 years ago, you walk in this room and, you know, they were upset at the board because the board didn't have anything to do with them. You know, there's some employees in this room that, you know, remember them meetings. So I mean, again, here we are 10 years
Didn't
later.
know everybody's.
Tell me. Come on, you finally got a haircut, man. You remember that meeting. Yeah. So I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, like I say, so I mean, here we've come full circle again. We're having a discussion about too much involvement with the people. So, hey, it's.
The pendulum.
we can just ask Ben, is your hair loss associated with board involvement?
Oh, 100%. My first meeting, a former board member said that I looked like, and I direct quote, a hobo.
I thought it was it a hobo?
Yeah, it was
I thought it was a hooligan or something. It was, yeah, it was right along them lines.
I'm sure I was.
The rest of the board just going. Even if he doesn't look like it, you can't.
And we had a dress code that had nobody could wear blue.
So, yeah, so like I say, we've. Yeah, now we're having a discussion on having too much input. So, again, I think.
As the pendulum swings, we find a happy middle.
I think, you know, I think again, that. Work it out to your best discretion.
Okay. Do we need to motion anything here or?
Unless we're changing policy, we don't.
Now, we
Okay.
change the
Policy
policy.
or, it's not in policy, is it?
I couldn't find it.
I pulled
Yeah,
up
that's-
I pulled up the section in the policy where it's at, so it looks like you might have to update it a little bit. It basically just says. ED or direct supervisor and OCD board will conduct performance evaluations. So
So it's just that.
So they're saying that the board theoretically
Yeah.
can be in there.
yeah, this
and-
one's saying that it typically is the ED and the board, but
Okay,
yeah, so it looks like just some editing. Looks like this could just be updated in general a little bit, because it also states that evaluations are conducted on the employee's anniversary, which is not what we've typically done.
yes, yeah.
So looks like it just needs to be updated.
Boy, wish the HR committee would do something. but, you know,
They should have
Are you
need.
taking notes?
Yes.
Yeah, it's all up here, yeah.
Uh, Section 14 of the personnel
track.
policy.
Jamie, will you put notes for that so we address that in the next?
Yep,
And
Thank
right
you.
underneath performance evaluations is the grievance procedure, so. Ben, pull
We
it up.
need to read that. Does it say anything about hobos or haircuts?
we took that section out first.
Good.
Yeah. All right, I think we beat up the work agreements enough. Is everybody clear on what we need to do moving forward?
Well, we didn't
Any
actually
questions?
talk about the work agreement at all. Does that need, that doesn't say vote next to it, but does it need a vote?
Brendan,
No.
There's no.
Work agreement.
Usually work agreements, if it's a new work agreement, usually does.
It's not a brand new staff, but he's.
It's not a new staff.
Brand or something.
Is it a new work agreement though?
Uh-huh.
It is a new work.
So then,
agreement,
you
Yeah,
need to vote on it.
All right, I make a motion
I
to.
promise I'll learn all these things as they go.
I make a motion to approve the
months,
work
we're fine.
agreement as written.
Support.
Is there any discussion on the work agreement of forest pest specialist? You said it's not a new one, so.
He's
No.
upgrading, right? Brendan's
Brendan's
getting
been here.
upgraded to fancier forest pest things that he
Yeah.
was doing previously.
Yeah.
Working with bigger bugs?
A little more responsibility.
Alright,
Cool.
alright, if there is no more discussion on it.
This is an expenditure.
Is this an expenditure? It kind of is if there's an increase in remuneration in the work agreement.
There is.
How do you vote, Becky?
Hi.
Tim,
I did not read it, so I'm gonna abstain, Matt.
alright,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
hiring. Keep him.
He's keep him.
Give him some
Keep
big
him.
bucks.
The key
Yeah,
is
get-
keep him.
Alright, now we can move to policy. And board involvement, oh my gosh.
That's what we
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
talked about. We skipped the work agreement is what happened. We jumped around.
Well, that's because I gave him a report and then I just scattershot everything. Report that wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. MECD Board President election, district letter of support for Jerry Mill.
Would you like to talk about?
Yeah, so basically, the bylaws of MACD require for the elections of officers, which are president, vice president, and secretary treasurer, or sorry, just treasurer. That each of those officers have a letter of support from 3 districts in order to run. So it's kind of akin to when we need 5 signatures to run for the board, they need 3 letters of support. From 3 different districts in order to run. I will say, I am not aware of anyone else who is also running for president other than Jerry. So we want a president, like having a president is a good thing. The kind of the entire organization ceases to function. The bylaws don't work without having the officer role filled.
Is there a draft or we don't have it yet?
No,
Not a draft letter?
I didn't develop a draft.
So we just need, I mean, I
What-
would put it onto Jamie to write a letter of support, but
Yeah,
I can't, he does a lot for MACD and for districts in
All right,
general. I mean,
so I need a motion. If. this
I can
is-
develop a draft. That's easy.
I can't really make this motion.
I'll make a
kinda have
motion to write a letter of
recuse
support
myself.
for Jerry Miller for president of NACD. I'll make that motion.
Any more discussion?
I can't really second it either, so. I think so.
Any more discussion?
Don't know the man, but I'd take your word.
He's very
He-
smart and very.
and I've
kind
spent some
and
time
Been there
with
for
him.
20 years, I mean, it's. one of them
Yeah,
positions.
he's
Great.
So I have a
He
question.
really is great.
Yeah, we're still in discussion.
No, I support Jerry Miller 150%.
Yeah.
But can we make it so we're only supporting political candidates for MACD instead of like getting a commissioner or something to ask us to support them and stuff like that?
What do you mean?
Like we're writing a letter of support that
Yeah.
they're gonna post somewhere.
No,
Right.
it's not. It just literally goes to, like, we write it.
I was looking for some, not Jerry, like I said, I'm 100.
No, 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 we
Something-
just,
some
no,
other
it just
office,
literally.
Some other,
No,
Okay.
it just gets sent to the election committee. The election committee says, yep, you have 3 letters, check, 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 we can put you on the
kind of
ballot.
like us signatures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and theoretically, if we wanted to support a candidate of some other form, it would have to come before us again and get a motion.
And this is also not a political candidate because MACD is not a unit of government. It's a nonprofit organization of which we are all
I wasn't
collectively.
thinking of
So,
this one, I was kind of
Yeah.
going somewhere.
okay,
No, this one is just for Jerry Miller and
Yes.
just for MACD board.
exactly.
What would be the signature requirements, board president and executive director or?
Do you,
Usually
check that out.
matters.
It's MACD bylaws. I mean, I think it just would. need
If
to
it's a
come-
letter of
it just needs to come
recommendation coming from this
Ottawa
board, it would just
Conservation
be
District,
missing.
yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
so
that-
you and I'll put together and then I'll get your Matt Hale on there.
Yeah,
Apparently, anybody even from New Jersey. can-
Yeah,
well, I mean, and it doesn't even have to be a signed letter. It can just be literally an email.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And I think the board has voted,
You wanna
the
talk
board
about?
is about to vote on
I
it,
mean,
whatever
you
they
can, if
vote.
there's any question about
is-
it, but like I said, it's just like, do at least 3 districts support you
Yeah.
running for president, so.
Well, he's
Okay.
got 2.
Well,
Yeah.
and with that, I would say, again, I mean, it can be just from the board of Ottawa County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it ain't technically a Matt Hale thing theoretically.
Yep,
I guess if they came back, we can fix it.
yeah.
All right. So, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed?
Abstain. Please note for the record. Abstain.
I'd say it passed.
Kind of my
I know.
boss, so.
I know. Yeah, that's fine.
Alrighty, is there a motion to take on the discussion of MACD membership increase?
Also have to recuse myself in that, so I'll discuss, but I can't. But
I'll make a motion to pay dues to MACD at the advanced member level.
Is that,
Are we voting on this or
yeah,
talking? about
no,
this?
well, we're gonna talk
trying to get
about
a
it, then we're
motion
gonna
on
vote
the
on it.
table.
Trying to
But
get a
what's due
motion.
till October.
and we can discuss and come back to it. Yeah, it's not due yet, but.
Did we have support? Sorry.
There was no support, is that the word? What's that? There was?
No, because he said he'd not know.
If not, no, it's not no support.
Not no support.
Is there anybody who,
These are the first.
what was the
Yeah,
motion?
November.
I made a motion
30th is
to
the
pay
official
MACD
deadline.
dues
Yeah,
at the advanced member
Yes.
level. 2026 year.
Is there support to that motion? Is there support to that motion? I guess we're on to the next.
Don't we need a different motion?
No, because.
I mean,
That's the
you-
motion, you either do or you don't support.
will be significant consequences if you don't continue membership at all.
Yeah,
But-
Wait a minute,
That's what Tim was asking.
this motion wasn't at all, it was at such a level.
Yes, but
So maybe we need a motion to put this on the table to discuss.
yes. you
I
need
will-
motion
that-
support,
I will
we
make
can
that motion.
discuss it.
Well,
Yeah.
that, so,
So Tim
all right,
is a second, and then we can
so
discuss.
Tim is the second.
Gotcha.
All right, any discussion on increased membership? Now, that's
So,
what we were discussing, doing the
dollar.
increased one, that's what the motion is.
1,200?
It's 650 or 1,300.
13.
We have added, benefits to the advanced level, including
this
like
document.
this is the summary version, like there's more detail to this, but we're trying to make it
Operations.
easily digestible. But I can answer any questions about anything.
So there's just two levels, basic and advanced.
Yes, that was not set by MACD, that was set by the districts 2 years ago at the annual business meeting, but they voted to make. it
I
two
just
levels.
wanted to be clear on what our options were.
Mhm.
Well, my comment is, we've been running the basic for quite a few years, it seems to work well.
So
Any pushback on that?
so my comment directly relates to the donation pass-throughs being $100 or free. One of the things to utilize a 501c3 is we need that ability to have donations pass through the 501c3 in order to access them. And is this $100 per individual
Application.
per application? So
Every time you utilize that, whether you get it or not, you have to pay.
pay $100.
Mhm.
And I will tell you that I could quite easily make up the difference in the number of grant applications that I would write between the basic membership and the advanced. That's only essentially like 6.5 applications that I would write, and we may or may not get them. So the only way for me to really trial the potential for us to access foundation funding and other organizations that typically would only grant to 501c3s would be to go with the advanced. Also, we're like one of the only districts that doesn't have the full membership as well, which is wild. I personally have grown to really value our relationship with MACD, and part of their sustainability just in recognizing that we're in this network is supporting them as well. And so that's in part what this does. The other thing that I was not aware of until recently is that we get Canva benefit. So we currently pay several $100s a year for Canva. If we do the advanced, then we get the Canva for, what is it?
One seat for free.
One seat for free.
What
on
is
the
a Canva?
account. It's what we use,
Like designed.
yeah, graphic design and promotional.
I
So,
use it like every day.
yeah,
So you
And I
couldn't we
will say
have that?
to address your,
He was telling us we could get it.
The Canva?
You
for free,
currently
you
have
can't,
that?
we
have
have,
it.
we
We have
currently
it.
pay for it.
but we're paying for it as a district.
And that's where you said you'd
But-
save $150 a year.
Yeah, but it's included in,
I will address your
Right.
comment, Tim. The benefits have changed really substantially over the last 3 years, let alone the last 10 years
The benefits of.
membership. I mean, first of all, last year was the first year that there was only a 2-tier system. Before that, there was a 4-tier system. Like, we've continuous, like, the free Canva is a new benefit this year. The QuickBooks discount is a new benefit we just added last year. We're continuously trying to find new, either nonprofit benefits that we can pass on, or bulk buying opportunities, or other resources. But I will also say, like, the bulk, in reality, all of this stuff is great. It's a benefit, and we will keep trying to find as many different benefits as we can pass on to districts as humanly possible. But the bulk of our time is really in the legislative and partner advocacy that we do. You know, we have a seat at the table at the commodities meetings in Lansing, at Farm Bureau at the state level. We have, you know, direct connections to lobbying groups that are working on behalf of funding for conservation districts and improvements in you know, federal funding for conservation districts. Every single grant that we operate for MDARD, MACD is directly involved in advocating on behalf of districts to improve benefits and pay and flexibility. You know, that, what Jack said, as far as like giving districts more flexibility in how to spend their dollars for the CTAP grants, that came directly from MACD advocacy. We as a leadership team meet with MDARD's leadership team at least every other month formally, and I probably have 3 meetings a week with MDARD.
Okay, but with that, sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but with that, I mean, our membership has been paying for that. Everything you said.
Well, I mean,
Now,
it's
I mean,
just like
so-
anything else, right? Like, if every district
Vivica,
pays
you and
the
me
basic
don't need
level.
to get into a huge conversation. I'm just saying that that's a basic membership. Basic membership pays for everything that you just are talking, and I don't wanna downplay. I mean, yeah, that's your role. That's your new job, is to do all them things, and thank you for doing it. But, you know, I guess, so I got a question with what's Member Hub Access?
That's the new website. It has a new directory, but the district manager has the ability to, or executive director in our case, has the ability to add and change staff and update the membership or the directory information without having to like submit information to a third party or slow things down, be able
All
to
right,
post
business
events.
tools, I guess we've covered the Canva thing.
That's also the emails. We provide all the email addresses for the office, and the Google Drive
Yep.
is all free through MACD.
Product discounts. What products are we talking about?
In this case, well, QuickBooks obviously, but also, any products, well, our tree sale signs and, trees planted signs have been the big ones up to this point. We'll be adding additional products on an as needed basis. But those
So
have been the
then-
big ones right now.
Then the donation pass through, so every
Mhm.
time we get a donation, first $100 goes to you. I mean, if we have
Yeah.
a basic,
If they need to pass it through a 501(c)(3), yes.
okay? Then now back up to our grant writing thing.
Mhm.
Says here with the basic, we give up 12%. If we buy the advance, we give up only 8%, 4%
Mhm.
difference, which
Just
Again.
do it work.
Can be pretty significant depending on the size of grant.
so.
And that's separate from the collaborative grants. If we do a grant in collaboration, then that's just worked into the grant budget.
Okay, so are we paying 12 and 8%, or are we paying this $100 a fee, or, I mean, how does? We
So
just kicked around $100 fee or something a little bit ago, so what is?
donation pass-through, so basically donation pass-through is if, and this happens pretty regularly with other districts. An organization is set up such that they can only give a donation through a 501(c)(3).
Yep.
In order, they send us the check, we send you the check. If that's all that's involved is like that administration of processing that check and passing it on, it's $100. If it's a bigger grant where, you know, there have to be quarterly reports and additional oversight and fiduciary, like, fiduciary services provided, that's where the percentage basis comes in, because it's a much, much higher level of administrative time for us to do that for you.
And you were able to leverage that to develop a collaborative grant in the UP
Mhm,
for NIFWIF.
mhm.
So all of those conservation districts that will benefit from that grant, that will come through you as a fiduciary, correct?
Well, and even a closer to home example, Kent Conservation District gets $35,000 every single year from the Wiggy Foundation. That has to come through MACD because they require it to go through a 501(c)(3) organization.
So last year's benefits, that was free, right?
No,
My Timmy was telling me every time he applies. $200.
yeah, last year we had, both the pass-through and the grant fiduciary was just a flat fee of 250 for the basic. We have had to change that because, more districts are applying for and getting bigger grants that require a lot more capacity for us. So $250 does not cover like 50 hours of my time
Yeah.
plus 10 hours of the accountant, plus the audit, plus.
No, but I see the,
Which is good. I'm glad that more
15%.
districts are utilizing it
12%
and getting
to
funding that way.
8%. I
Yeah.
see why you would charge that.
Yeah,
It sounds to me like MACD is getting a little greedier. That,
Well, you said last year,
Well-
they weren't
Well-
doing anything, right?
no.
There was 250.
It was 250.
and now you want us to spend more to save
But there
more.
was no percentage. You said it was a clear
There,
pass.
yeah, there was no percentage last year. There is a percentage now in this, which makes sense because when you're writing. I don't know if you all have dealt with grant reporting requirements. It takes a substantial amount
not
of time, like.
denying the work.
Yeah,
And a big liability on our part as well, because we're responsible, we're the organization who. We're gonna not be able to get grants, we're gonna have to deal with the IRS, et cetera, because we're the grantee. We're the one on the.
So
hook
what,
for-
then, yeah, let's pay it
Let's pay.
and let you guys do all the reporting. That sounds like a really
Correct,
good deal.
that's exactly what happens.
Well,
We
let's
do
see
the
if it
report.
works.
I mean, there are other districts that are doing it right now, which is why we've had enough experience to be like, okay, again, in the past. Very, very few districts have taken advantage of this. In this past year, we've had a lot more districts utilizing this, partly because the federal grant system is.
and they just made it
Becoming more
even worse.
unstable.
Yes, they just made it even worse.
And so realistically, in order to have enough staff capacity to manage those grants and be able to. Not hold on to a check for 3 months because we don't have staff time literally to process it. We had to kind of think of what are some other ways that we can increase capacity, have more availability for the districts. In a sustainable, reasonable way, cause there's not more than 24 hours in
I'm
a
going
day.
to, support my motion and then maybe call the questions. I'm not sure if we're gonna make any headway on where minds land on this, but, I made a motion to support it at the highest level. It has nothing to do with the spring sheet. It's all cool. We'll use all that. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that MACD is our version of Michigan Farm Bureau. They're at the table and those conversations need to happen. They know when shit starts to go sideways, that's gonna affect districts. And I feel like the organization, from a leadership standpoint, what it's trying to do to support all districts. We are robust and we're involved and we have an outstanding team and a good board. We're in a really good spot. And there's districts who are right now floundering where we were 10, 15 years ago. And I just feel strongly that we need to, it's, rising tide lifts all boats. We
Are
have
you
the
gonna call the
ability.
question?
When I'm done speaking, I'm gonna call the question.
Oh, I thought you wanted people to stop speaking. That's
I'm
what called.
gonna support my motion and then I'm going to call the question.
May
And
I
as it happens, I
one
was almost
response
done
to
that.
Tim, Becky? MACD is not
You can
getting
call
more
the question.
greedy.
Do I
Yes.
allow her to speak or what are you gonna do? That's why I'm
Districts
asking the
need more
question.
support, and we need to be able to. provide.
Rivka, I'm sorry. Are
Okay,
you?
I will call the question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the question has been called. That means we have to go right straight to a vote. Discussion is done. So, we're spending money. So Doug, how do you vote?
No.
Becky, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tim,
No,
I'm saying,
and you have to abstain, or abstain, substain.
so you have to vote.
Don't matter.
No, it's a 2-to-1 vote. So the chairman don't have to vote if it is not a tie.
We can bring this up next, right?
You can bring it up.
Why
Yes.
don't we bring it up next month? If we just voted.
well,
Right.
you still have to vote.
Hey, you ain't doing nothing.
Well, wait a minute though.
We just
Remember-
voted against the high.
Someone could have requested that I just make a friendly. And drop it to 650 and then we're done with that.
It's kind of what Tim said.
Right, but nobody,
There is no motion on the floor right now.
Right.
Does someone want to make a motion?
I'm confused. I didn't understand what she just said.
That motion to do the highest just got voted down. It did
Yep.
not get supported. Is there someone else at the table here who would like to make another motion about anything?
I'll make a motion to pay
Memberships or not?
50 dues.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll support that. We already voted, so what?
But we voted not to
Got
the
it,
highest.
I got it now.
Tim, I'm sorry, the point was like, when we had
Yep,
the
got it.
discussion, like, you could have said, well, you know what, I don't love that, will you make a friendly, and
Yep.
seeing where the votes were gonna lie, I would have probably said, yep. I'll change my motion, make a friendly, drop it. to
I would like to
That's the
comment
point there.
before we
Hang
go
on.
on and vote anything.
So there's a motion and support on the floor.
Yep.
Let's discuss it.
So I think I'm new here, but part of the reason that I'm sitting around this table is that for 20 years, I've been developing organizations' funding structures. No questions asked. I brought in, personally raised 27.7 million on my own. So I know how these systems work. So when I would make a request like this, just to be completely clear, not only do I feel like it's the right thing to do as part of a network of that is advocating for us, that's why we have 40,000 a year. It's maybe why we're gonna have 50 or more in the future. So that's the one part of it, but the other part is it makes financial sense. If I'm gonna do an end of the year ask and I'm gonna solicit donors to release their hard-earned money, the way it works in 501c3 world is that there's tax incentive. You want the bigger checks, you offer the incentive. People wait till the end of the year to distribute their funds to offset their tax burden. So if we want to pay $100 for every amount of money that comes in, we can. Or, we could potentially have $650 come in donations just like that and offset the difference. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. So I just want to be very direct about that. This helps me do my job. And it helps MACD do their job, which supports us in the long term. I see it as an investment. You see it as $650.
I'm totally with you. And what you're saying, I get it, but that is not the motion that's on the floor.
Okay.
So should have said that 3 minutes ago, but you would have been in a better place to do that. So again, with that said, I mean, he's making total sense. I mean, he's not out of order in what he's talking about, but this motion is to pay the $650 fee. Or not to even pay a membership. So, I guess that's the next one. So,
Well, there are significant consequences to that decision.
well, I didn't say there wasn't, but at this point as chairman, there's a motion on the floor to pay the $650 level.
I'm gonna support that motion, and I'm going to say that that's, there's where this board is, and this is where we need to meet right now. And there's no reason we can't increase that later in the year, if we find that's advantageous, once you track how many $100 pass-throughs.
Yeah, that's
We hit that
that's-
650,
Yep.
and we, that differential of 4% in those $100 pass-throughs, when we hit that, let us know, and then we revisit this. And maybe reevaluate how we go forward, but I think we definitely need to support MACD, to support them at 650, and, when we get there, we'll revisit it.
I agree with Becky on that one. Can I ask, oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're in discussion. What would you like?
So when is any CD dues? Cause I thought we did these at the same time every year.
I don't send out NACD dues.
You got anything on any CD, Jamie?
We are, because boards specifically
Not yet.
requested that we get it out earlier in the year, so you could have it during your budget conversations prior to fiscal year, so we made a really, really big push to get this done and out August 1st, rather than normally we'd be sending out like October 1st. So even getting this to you at this time was like a very, very heavy lift. So as far as NACD, I can't speak to that.
Any more discussion on the membership? Becky, how do you vote?
Aye.
Tim,
Yes.
Doug? We are in for the $650. Director training invite, the email.
That's just for your review. It's a training that MACD is offering for directors just to better understand. Well, I'm not gonna go through it, but if you go ahead and review that, that's
Oh, I did see that.
provided in the packet.
These are trainings that MACD and MDR provided in conjunction with each other routinely prior to COVID. They stopped during COVID, and so we have been able to get some grant funding through MDR to bring these training back, including providing stipends for directors to be able to attend, because that has been a barrier in the past.
How much are the stipends?
What do I say in my?
$75.
$75 and one.
Yeah, it depends on which training you go to. 75 for the 3 regional trainings, 150 for the one that's in conjunction with the conference.
My only question was, they're all the same, right? So if we're going to conference anyway, and they're there, that's what I do, right? They're all same.
Yeah, and part of the reason it's higher for conference is because people may have to travel farther. The other element of that is that we really want to encourage directors to be at that annual business meeting on the 8th. So even if people don't want to stay for the conference, if they just come for the director training and the business meeting, you still will be able to get that stipend, and there's no cost for you to attend those 2 things.
Stipends are available to any director that wishes to go across the state. You guys have funding for any director that wants to go. Okay,
Okay,
cool.
are we asking for money here?
Nope,
We
just
Information.
letting you know what's
It is
available.
available
Yep.
training that
Sign
would be
up and.
good for directors to go.
Right. MDART operation review.
So this is our annual review as an organization with MDARD. We could do it a number of ways. We could do, a special meeting with just 2 directors and myself. Or we could include it in our next board meeting. I realize we're gonna have budget conversations in the next board meeting. The in-person review is scheduled for September 25th. It is something that we need board input on.
Jack, is that I'm sorry, maybe you know, but is that the checklisty thing?
Yeah.
That I did with I can sit on that checklist you do. I think it should not be with the board meeting, it should just be a couple of board members. Does it have to be 2 or can it just be 1? I think it's just me and Natalie.
It could be just one.
On September 25th, would you be having an HR committee meeting where maybe the 2 directors?
Oh.
How long is that gonna take? This particular meeting?
Howard.
Has to be earlier in the day, because we have farms at the top, is that, what time is it? September 25 at what time?
9 AM.
That's,
Yep.
yeah, Tim, if you wanna.
the data.
25th, September Thursday.
That's a possibility.
Okay, that sounds good.
Why don't, maybe we just kind of, you guys get together as far as your HR, you said you were gonna meet, correct?
Yeah.
2 birds with 1 stone.
One
So
trip
we'll
down,
review it then, the HR meeting. Perfect.
or,
If that works for your schedule too.
alright, so we'll kind of theoretically plan on you 2 doing it, unless we hear different.
Whenever we call that HR meeting then. When we call that meeting.
When do we call
Yeah, when we call it.
Yeah.
Did we settle on a date?
Well, I
and time?
just-
Sounds like the
Matt-
25th.
Matt was just saying that we would.
You can do it whenever you want, I'm just saying, if
Since
you
we're gonna
were,
be together anyway, maybe double up.
Oh, well, the 25th is the actual in-person review of those documents, so we have to fill them out in advance of that time.
Yeah. We can, you and I can,
We'll set something in,
yeah, you
okay.
and I can chat afterwards.
so we good with that?
Yep.
Oh,
MERS,
it's right on the paper.
Just want to update you on the MERS. So our original setup with the MERS account was that we would do a per pay period distribution and that it would be pre-tax. After talking about it, we determined that we're gonna go with the quarterly distribution and do it a post-tax distribution. We just have to change the parameters with MERS. Makes sense, clear as mud?
and that comes from. I know we discussed this
We just-
briefly at
yes.
the
Yep.
meeting. That
Yep.
was gonna be easier for
It's fair,
Annalise and.
It-
because everybody gets paid quarterly, whether they
Yeah.
put it in your pocket
Okay.
or put it in.
Yeah, it creates, is in
Creates a little more
line with our current,
Synchrony, yep.
yeah, our
Yeah.
current system. But I just wanted to put it in here
Nope,
to give the
good.
board oversight with that.
NRCS, Upper County, this, working group,
Yes,
August 27th.
yep. You all are invited to participate. It's not necessary that you come, but if you would like to come, or you know someone that should be sitting in on that room, you're welcome to invite them to it.
You want to be invited?
And then, next board meeting, Alex, Savoda, Savoda, thank you. He will be presenting on the Regen Ag program. So I just wanted to give you a heads up.
How long are the presentations like, Kenny?
We haven't discussed length, but I can give him a cap on it.
That's
How long
budget
would you
meeting
like
and
it?
stuff. Well, I'm
Oh,
saying we're doing
yeah,
budget,
yeah.
probes, and I'm like, is that a great idea for that meeting or?
It was the only time slot that he had to get in, before the end of the year. And it's part of his project, so yeah, we can keep it short. And I met with him one-on-one today, so.
Grants.
The main ones that, we're preparing are the two listed. I already mentioned these, NACD and Watershed. The two that we applied to, through NIFWIF are under pending. And you'll see the indirects listed there and the number of the total request. Do you have any questions about that?
Pretty good.
Yep. And we did a 14%. You can go up to a 15%, without a NECRA, but it's also changing. They're gonna start capping, indirects in federal grants per the new policy, so. So we're still within the realm of what we can get in terms of indirects there.
Cool. Any questions? And you covered executing ones, correct? That was
Yes,
your-
that one we just found out today, right, Muriel? That the Midwest Glacial Lakes one, they are not distributing any.
Not Midwest Glacial Lakes, the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative.
Oh, that's the.
Yeah, they
okay.
sent out an email, that my proposal was not accepted, but that they're not funding any Great Lakes.
They're not funding any,
Restoration
okay.
Initiative projects nationwide this year.
So we just found that out today.
Glacial Lakes one is just still on hold. We're gonna be doing all the contract execution later this year.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's this GLRI one that she said that no one got this year, this pending.
great.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Bring this up to board updates, 2 minutes of fame. Becky, what you got?
Everyone should go to Outside Ales at 5 o'clock on Saturday for the release of the Big Bergamowski. It's a
Wow.
craft beer that's being brewed with a native plant and it's gonna be fun.
Nice.
Where's that?
Wow. Yeah,
Downtown Grand Haven.
Oh,
What was the date on that?
This Saturday, the 16th at 5 p.m.
what place? Down
Outside Ales, the one that
Oh.
piano factory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
anything, Doug?
Just the finance meeting. That's it.
Mine's more fun than yours, huh?
Tim?
I don't have anything, but I got a question, and maybe it's. My little flower guy planted flowers again in my ditches, and it was a complete failure. We got more weeds than we got flowers. Looking for ideas. He rototills, then scatters seed. I think he's planting weed seeds when he rototills. I'm a no-till guy. Is there a way, or does anybody know of a little 3 or 4 foot no-till seeder? 3 or 4 foot, something he can pull behind a little garden tractor, and it'll get in little narrow spaces, ditches, ditch banks.
I don't think I've seen one that.
If you know something,
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah, we'll do.
I've seen them, there's one over by a new house that got built and they're got a little 3 or 4 foot cedar, they're putting in a lawn.
Yeah, but that's, you gotta have the work soil. I'm looking what I'm thinking is just spray and no till it in and leave it alone. And then flowers will come up before the weeds.
The answer is just to make it bigger, I guess,
Still got the.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
give him
what you do with
15
ditch banks,
foot
you're
all the
sometimes
time.
very limited.
No, it's fair.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
and of course, go to Tim's thing. I guess we're gonna meet before, no, that's the end of August.
It's in a couple weeks.
So Tim's thing, I unfortunately am not gonna be able to make it that day, I have a interview with Senator Heisinger in the park. So. stay tuned.
Ooh, take it all.
It's they put it together and they do it with 3 or 4, every fall they do it with 3 or 4 businesses within this district and they say it's not political, it's just to highlight. They've done it on. I know they've done it on Swanson Pickles, I've seen that one, but just, he comes out and talks business with. And business environment or whatever, so. You know, all dang days, so I'm gonna see if I can back him up, cause maybe I can have him come later in the day and make it over here.
Take him along for burgers.
Yeah,
We know who he is.
that would be
Bring them
all.
over to the event.
So again, it took us like 2 months just to figure out what day that worked for us and him and everything else, so yeah, but like I said, if he can push it either ahead in the morning or behind in the afternoon, we'll. But yeah, if he's gonna be in the area, it'd be a good event to take him to, so. Well, if there is nothing else, we had a PA 116,
Rivka, did you give your 2 minutes?
oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Hey, she's had 25 throughout the whole, what haven't you talked about? You
Cause
actually
I've
got
been
something-
doing a lot of things.
You got something more to talk about?
Yeah,
All right.
great Region 7 meeting,
Got 2 minutes.
missed all of you,
Yeah.
you should all go next year.
I didn't even go,
It's-
because I was out of town.
It was
Because
really
you were
well.
president.
It's a pretty important thing for directors to be at. We voted on a resolution that was brought forward by Kent. That resolution passed. It was related to cover crop, so that'll be going up to the annual business meeting in December for all of the districts to vote on. And, you know, all the districts were able to kind of share high level of what's going on. MDR provided a really in-depth report and both Chad Rogers and Mike Alexander, Jack's bosses, were there. And we had a good turnout. Hopefully we'll have more representation from Ottawa next year. So,
Right. I have one more
Where's it gonna be
thing,
next year? Did you guys-
I got, who's our cover people?
Kent is the
What's
host
that?
next year.
I have got, Dennis Bosch called me this morning and I have, he's the one who flies on my cover crop here. He is gonna be in. You know, he's gonna be in Bolton Township.
Yeah.
Here, and, but you know, so as far as. You know, if you got somebody who's thinking about flying something on. Now we actually got a little rain today, there's actually a hope of something we'll take, but,
In Polkton Township?
yeah, he's gonna be. Yeah, actually ran a.
Yeah, I gotta
Polkton,
double check.
Michigan.
I've got a farmer who's gonna fly on some, but I forgot to ask who he's doing it through.
Okay.
I'm guessing maybe Dennis Pelosi.
Well, there's. Zambia trying to get into.
You doing it with a plane or a drone?
Plane. Farming at 120 mile an hour is actually quite interesting, so, but yeah, we've had good luck with him. We've had him in, I don't know, 5, 6 years. So, but yeah, but again, they're coming to the area, so if it's. Something that, you know, and the more acres, the cheaper it gets, if he comes into the
If you
area.
know when he's coming to fly on your cover crop on your property and you happen to be around, or Christine or anyone, and could take video of it. That's one thing in the last couple of years, I'd love to try to do that, but then sometimes it's hard to like get to the right place at the right time when they're there. Just to show.
We have some of Flash here.
And if you got any photos of cover crop seed being flown on at all, or
Yeah.
photos or videos.
Some good photo and video of them like actually loading the planes, but it's a lot
Oh.
harder to actually get video of the planes flying.
Yeah.
They're there and gone in about
Yeah.
20 seconds. And that's
Oh,
all you
if they're
get.
coming to your property and you know where they're coming, you can try to
This
take a
is
video.
easy because he's in beans. I mean, actually, the video I got, he's in corn and it's like you're standing on one end of the field and all of a sudden it's like.
I know, it's
The
bad,
same
but-
thing, it's like, dang,
Ah, it'd just
I
be
guess
good.
it's over. So, yeah. But, thank you all. Next, we have a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We are adjourned.
Tim, don't leave.
So to
Wait one
answer your
second, I'm gonna end the recording. everybody.
honestly, your dues do not cover the sweat.
Yeah, I chatted with him.
The only reason we're able to provide
I-
is
I
by
have-